We develop a J-frame with appropriate layout to organize components effectively. First, we entitled the project the Library Management System. We use JLabel to label every JText field that we used, while the purpose of the JText field is for the user to input their choices. We also added JButtons for much easier interaction with the user. With these components, it helps users navigate through the interface more efficiently. Also, we use the J checkbox to highlight the availability of the book, while the JText area underneath of all of the components is where all the information that the user input will be displayed. The purpose of a well-organized layout contributes to the visual appeal of the application. The proper alignment, spacing, and grouping of components create a visually pleasing interface that is aesthetically pleasing to the user. And this layout, we designed this with our own preferences.
In this part, naglagay kami ng J-labels and JText field. Sa J-labels is nandito nakalagay yung mga title, author, genre, and etc. Naglagay kami nito para alam ng user kung saan niya ilalagay yung title, author, and yung iba pa. Sa JText field naman, dito mag-i-input or magta-type yung user ng ilalagay niya sa JText field para makuha niya yung information na tinatype niya.
As assigned to me by my groupmates, are provided Java Swing application for a library management system. J checkboxes are utilized to indicate the availability of books and the status of members. Check active, CHK active when adding a book or a member. Users can mark their availability or status by checking these checkboxes. For instance, when adding a book, the user can check the CHK available checkbox to indicate that the book is available for borrowing. Similarly, when adding a member, the user can check the CHK active checkbox to indicate that the members is active. We also created the JText area txt transaction log for the program to display a variety of information such as the member details, the transaction log, and the list of books that are available and that have been borrowed. This text section logs every transaction that occurs in the library, including adding books or members borrowing and returning books. This gives you a complete overview of everything that happens in the library. This makes the application easier to use by making it easier for users to keep track of and evaluate previous transactions. All things considered, these features help the program manage transactions and library resources with greater efficiency.
This code creates a simple GUI with buttons for each action specified. When you click on any button, a corresponding message is displayed indicating that the functionality is yet to be implemented. You can add the actual functionality inside each if lock in the action performed method.
So, this part of source code allows library staff to add new books to the system using a list of data structure. Staff can be input details such as title, author, genre, ISBN, and availability status for each new book. The list data structure efficiently manages the collection of the books in the system, making it easy to keep track of all available titles and their respective information. This code allows us to add new members to a library management system. It uses a list of data structure to store information about members, such as their name, ID, contact details, and membership status. When a new member joins, their details are collected and stored in the member object, which is then added to a list of members. This helps keeps track all of the members registered in the system.
In this part of the code, it enables borrowing book for members by selecting a book from the available list and assigning it to a member. This will keep track of the availability status of each book. When a book is borrowed by a member, its availability status should be updated accordingly. While the borrowing process, which involves selecting a book from the available list, selecting a member to assign the book to, and updating the book's availability status. When the borrowing action is triggered, check if both the book and the member are selected. If so, assign the book to the member and update the book's availability status. Otherwise, display an error message prompting the user to make selections. After that, it will update the user interface to reflect changes in book availability and member borrowing status. This may involve removing the borrowed book from the available book list, updating the members list of borrowed books, or refreshing the entire interface to display the updated information.
In this program, it has a functionality that allows users to return books by choosing a borrowed book and indicating that it has been returned. Then it shows the availability status of the book that it is now available for borrowing again.
To implement the functionality of searching for books by title, author, genre, or ISBN, and displaying the search results in the JText area, you'll need to perform the following steps. First, create a method for searching books. You'll need to create a method that takes a search criteria, title, author, genre, or ISBN, as input and returns a list of books that match the search criteria. Second, implement logic to filter the list of books. Inside the search method, iterate through the list of books and compare each book's attributes, title, author, genre, and ISBN. With the search criteria, if any of books' attributes match the search criteria, and that books to the list of search results. The third and the last part, update the JText area to display the search results. After filtering the list of books, update the JText area to display the search results. You can iterate through the list of search results and append each book's details to JText area.
Searching member by ID and name and display their details in JText area.
This program, it has a features where it can store transaction details in functionalities like book borrowings and returns and display it to the user using JText area.
So what is the problem here? So implement a transaction log to record each student's registration details and fee payment. So when we run our output or our source code, the output will be when a student registered at the library. So yung create namin library, their information such as name, student, and details and registration date will be recorded in the transaction log. And also, the second is the system will also track fee payments made by each student. So this will be include details such as amount paid and any outstanding balance. So for the last is to the transaction log will serve as a chronological record of all registration and fee payment activities. So it will provide transparency and accountability by documenting each student's interactions with the library. What is the use of the transaction logs in our code? So when you run our code, the transaction logs typically contain information such as the date and the time of the transaction. So the type of transaction like book, checkout, and return. So the user involved a member ID. He need to put number ID to confirm your identity and possibly the book or item details, and also the logging additional information like the user actions, system responses, and any errors encountered can be helpful for troubleshooting and auditing purposes. So all of our source code have a useful to create this library and also to storing transactions. So this is for the future reference. So to storing transactions, logs ensures that you have a historical records of all activities within the library system, because it's very important, because when you create something bad or something bad happen in the library, it will record your things that you create or information. And also it resolves disputes or discrepancies, and also the security and privacy.
It's important to consider security and privacy when storing transaction logs. So it makes sure that sensitive informations like user password or payment details are not recorded. Okay, and also the maintenance. Regularly maintain and back up their transaction logs to prevent data. So this is very important to use every day the transaction logs. So that's all.